22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare.
Check 1 2, check 1 2.
We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are listening to Black Westchester Presents People Before Politics Radio every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. This is the 2-year anniversary of Black Westchester Magazine and People Before Politics Radio. It has been 2 years in the making. We have my man, 50 Grand, Damon K. Jones.
What up?
And I am A.J. Woodson. Dr. Bob Baskerville is doing his professor thing. Got to do some research and stuff. Not going to make it to the show. Shout out to Cynthia Turnquest Jones, who pops up every now and then. Might be another 7 months before I see her again. But we're going to hold it down. So we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary at Mangoville Restaurant, Bar and Grill, North Avenue, New Rochelle, Wednesday. It was a joyous occasion. You can see it on blackwestchester.com. Gotta say publicly, gotta thank my man Damon K. Jones. Everybody was saying a few words and everything, was talking about how we got started. It threw me off for a minute, talking about, what I meant to Black Westchester and all the work that I put in. Kind of, caught me off guard, but I appreciate the words. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate being recognized.
Yeah, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man.
No, I'm just saying everybody don't, I didn't expect you to say all that, though. I was just like, yo. But I appreciate it, though. And appreciate everybody who came out, who wanted to come out, couldn't make it. There was various meetings that day. But a lot of people gave us a lot of congratulations, behind the scenes. Thank you to Mangoville for hosting it, Cupcake Cutie Boutique for hosting it, Bump, the Brown Urban Mother Partnership for hosting it, and of course Mangoville, for all sponsoring our anniversary party. So, Damon, it's been 2 years and counting since we started Black Westchester. If you had to, what would be like some of your fondest memories of in the last 2 years about Black Westchester?
I mean, every moment is a beautiful moment, and the best moments are when you realize people that are listening to the show that you never thought listened to the show, and you realize, and you get the comments to keep doing what you're doing and keep moving. I mean, this is just, as people know, this is just the first step in what we're actually trying to accomplish in a black-owned internet radio station that will give information 24 hours a day. That's the ultimate goal. To have that.
Absolutely.
And to give the black community a voice and to continue to to address the issues from the black point of view. You know, because we do have views, and we have to keep and also keep other people honest. You know, if the black media is not going to keep black people honest, who will? You know, and portray and give a different portrayal of the black male and the black woman in the media, you know, and show people that, you know, the crazy narrative that we don't care about crime in our communities, you know, and show people that are working to eradicate crime outside of the normal institutions that we have, you know, and bring these people forth and let the community see these people and let us honor these people as well, you know. So there's a lot of things coming, you know, more from Black Westchester. We just have to move forward and continue to get the support from the people.
Absolutely. Yo, one of the things that comes to mind when you said, you know, other people, when you realize people are paying attention, you know, it was last year when the Freddie Gray situation went down, and you know they had the peaceful protest in Baltimore, you know, the days before what they call the riots, and say 10,000 people peacefully protested, and the media focused only on the 100 or so people who acted up and the 50-something people that got arrested, and that's all you heard about.
Right.
And we kind of took as far as the editorial approach, going after all the media for their slanted point of view and not covering it. We had people like Frank Shaw, who was actually there, blessed us with the pictures from the stage, so you could see all those beautiful people out there peacefully protesting, and to see all the response from that article, including students at John Hopkins. They actually had a forum, and I guess like an auditorium in the school, and they had the story I wrote on their big screen. You know what I'm saying? And they were debating the whole thing, and it was like to see rappers like Talib Kweli tweeting it, and you know, and you know, over 800,000 people read that story. It went viral. Like that was like mind blowing to me at that point. You know what I'm saying? It was just like all these people that were just, you know, happy to see a black media outlet not scared to tell the truth. You know, a media outlet, period. But, you know, specifically a black media outlet. And that was one of the things that, you know, it's those things. That was the biggest of all the stories we did. We've had other stories go viral, but that was the extreme case. And it makes you focus on, you know, to continue to put the hard work in, to put the dedication in, to continue to go all out. You know what I'm saying? Because you see people are paying attention. You know, and then I remember we was on the radio during the Ferguson thing, and someone called in from Ferguson and was like, "Yo, I know what they telling you. Let me tell you what's really going on," and gave us like the real, you know, I'm like live on the air, like, yo, that was crazy that somebody in Ferguson was listening, and we got calls from everywhere, and we get hits from around the country. So it's crazy. So, you know, I want to thank everybody who's holding us down, who reads blackwestchester.com, who
come on.
Oh, yeah, who holds us down.
Oh, come on in, Chief.
Who we got a guest coming in right now. Hey, what's going on? All the people that hold us down, that read, that listen to the show on a weekly base. You know, so I just wanted to put that out there, and as we celebrate our 2-year anniversary, entering the studio is the police chief of Peekskill that I had the pleasure of meeting this past week when they held a put your mic on 3.
And he's nice and casual.
Yeah.
He's
nice
and casual. I was gonna wear shorts.
Yeah. But
Nice and casual.
we had the pleasure of meeting when they invited Damon to speak at their police community.
Actually, the police chief invited me. He actually made that maneuver.
Right. And in my conversation with him, we were talking, and you know, I've talked to a lot of police chiefs and police commissioners throughout the municipalities of Westchester, And when we have those conversations about police need to live, should police in the areas they live in. And I was like, in the comment I made, I said it's harder to smack Ray Ray upside the head when he used to date his mother or used to go play ball with his father. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. And he took it a step further. He said, yeah, but I go to the same supermarkets they all do too. I got to see him on the line. He said that keeps a little humble. And that's what we need. That's what we need from our politicians and our, police especially police management, to have to go to when you go to the same stores as the people that you police over, it's harder to be a certain way when you have to see these people. You can't go to the movies. You can't go to Home Depot. You can't go to the gas station without seeing somebody because you live in the same community.
It keeps you human.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that part of the conversation, and I enjoyed that. I applaud them for, while they don't have necessarily a problem right now going on, they wanted to get ahead of it. Not wait until a lot of people wait till there is a problem and then they go, oh, we got a problem, we got to deal with it. But sometimes it's better to deal with a situation before it is a problem. When you know what I'm saying, because most people go, oh, that's Mount Vernon, that's not going to affect us, or that's Greenberg, that doesn't affect us. But if it happens anywhere, you know what I'm saying, it affects everybody. So.
If you look at what happened,
you can just pull your mic up closer.
If you look at what happened in Ferguson, Ferguson is almost the exact demographic as the city of Peekskill. Same population, the police department, very similarly sized. So, it can happen anywhere. So you're right. You got to get ahead of it.
And let me go backwards. I do not want to mess up your names. I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Eric Johansson.
Okay. See, there you go. I've learned to do that sometimes instead of messing up names. Tell the people who you are. Yeah. So luckily, I was able to Google you because I was like, oh man, how do you spell his name? Because they didn't have a printout of the speakers, so I'm sitting here trying to Google. But you were there, so I was able to Google.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. I've been looking forward to it all week.
Oh yeah, this is great, man. We welcome you because we like to. First of all, a lot of police chiefs don't come on the show. So we
absolutely.
And so outside of Commissioner Kelly, and then he got fired after coming on the show. We don't know if he was coming on the show though. But
I'm not planning on getting fired.
No, but he was
brutally honest, man,
and
we loved it, man.
Yeah.
He was just honest.
And the beautiful thing was, we weren't necessarily against his appointment. We felt in a city like Mount Vernon,
we questioned his appointment.
A city about Mount Vernon that's predominantly black, that had the only black police commissioner in the county, there were probably some black candidates that were not looked at, and that was the questioning. And we questioned him, and he came. We
actually questioned the mayor.
We questioned the mayor's appointment.
The mayor's decision,
right,
on his appointment.
And we questioned whether he was the right person for the job.
Then there was some history,
right, that he supposedly alleged a police officer
when he was actually on an officer,
and he answered every question brutally honest. He didn't duck. Now, he did a sidestep 1 or 2 questions. But that's to be expected. But I got to say, the majority of the questions he asked, especially I asked him some real difficult ones about things I heard. They say about you, and he answered those questions. So.
What we really try to do with the show is, especially when it comes around policing, is that people get to see the people that are in charge, the people that create the policies and procedures. And what they feel, and because a lot of times I think people don't, the average person, they don't get to meet the chief sometimes because they're just busy just trying to live, so that they do not get to meet the chief, or they do got the commissioner, they do not get to see the commissioner, so we try to invite them on the show, especially when there's national conversations on what's going on, so people can know what's going on in their police department.
Well, we have to talk about it.
Right.
You can't hide it.
Right.
And like I said, I'm glad that you invited me, and I wouldn't duck a show for any reason, especially radio. I got a face for radio.
There you go. But let me ask you a question.
Well, we're on video too. So
that's what I told him. I said, he was like, yo, what should I wear? Let me ask you something. Living in the community, because I think this is, the national conversation with a lot of police departments. They have a lot of police officers that don't live in the community, and then they have a lot of management that don't live in the community. And you know, and I'm all for police living in the community that they serve, being stakeholders. I'm all for that. What in your career, you know, living in Peekskill, going to Peekskill High School, becoming chief, you know, do you think you would have a different view of the city if you didn't? You know, how like what would that affect decisions, or does it, you know, how does it, because, you know, there's some nowadays in policing, you know, and I saw a memorandum from like the FOP not wanting police to live in the city, and I thought that was crazy. I found it online. I was like, wow, you know. So, you know, like, how does that, the overall relationship, does it make it better, or is it hard? You know, does it compromise the officers? Because some people say it compromises the officers if they're born and raised and they know the people and they're not going to be as strict on people, or does it help you police the community and build that bridge?
Well, I think it definitely helps you build the bridge. I mean, speaking for myself, coming on, you know, just a few years out of high school, I knew a lot of people. It helped me in that respect. People trusted me just from knowing me. Right. And, you know, I was able to use that to my advantage. I can say that in the years that I've been on the job, it's almost 24 years now, we've probably hired, since I've been there, 10 or 15 officers from Peekskill. The majority of them stay very close. Right. You know, they're not the ones that you hire from Peekskill are not the ones that move up to Dutchess or whatnot. Most of them, they tend to stick around. You know, I think that's a testament to our city and the things that we have to offer, and the fact that we don't have a lot of problems.
Right. Now, how do you keep, other than pay, right? Like, how do you keep a officer on your department?
That's a great question. I mean, pay is important. I mean, that's people do look to make money. Right. We're competitive. We're very competitive salary wise with the other municipalities in the county. You know, aside from that, we have an affordable place to live. There's a lot going on in terms of that, and then retaining people on the job. There's enough to do. It's not a sleepy little bedroom community. There's a lot going on. It keeps you on your toes and it allows you to work and get some fulfillment as a police officer. Right.
That's good. And how do you maintain morale?
Morale's tough. I mean, you hear that in policing.
Even in times like this, you know, when police officers, you know, and the narrative is, you know, they're overworked, which I do agree, because there's a lot of institutions that, you know, politicians has taken away, mental health and things like that, and it puts a lot of burden on police. You know, how do you maintain morale when issues like this, when the national issues, and then police still have to do their job?
I think that the most important way to maintain morale is to let your officers know that you have their back, but also know what's expected of them. You have to keep the lines of communication open. You have to constantly remind them what the expectations are, and at the same time, you know, let them know that you're not going to tolerate poor behavior or you know, but you know, you're just not going to tolerate poor behavior, but you know that you have their back, and that's important. I mean, look, it's tough out there now for a police officer. I mean, they've got to be everything at this point. They've got to still maintain their vigilance. They still need to go on calls for service. You know, the radio goes off, and they've got to respond. At the same time, you know, you have one group of people that's you know, sharing the love, and you know, some others that aren't too pleased with policing in America right now. So they've really got to balance all of that and ensure that number one, that they're out there being safe for themselves and doing their job properly.
Right. Now, with a city like Peekskill, and you was at the forum, you know, and there were some hard questions out there. You know, like some people had some real hard questions. You know, how do you, as a police chief in that community, how do you work to answer those questions and still continue to work to build communications, even with those people that are on that side? That, I mean, like the one professor, I mean, he just didn't trust police. You know what I'm saying? And I understand, because he came up through the civil rights. He probably seen some stuff that we will never see. But and also in his understanding. But and I even felt he didn't even trust me because I was in law enforcement. You understand? And I get that. I get that also. But like, how do you as a chief in a city like that, how do you continue to build that trust even with those that already have those preconceptions of law enforcement?
Oh, it's like AJ said right when I walked in. You have to get out in front of it.
Right.
In Peekskill, we're lucky. We've got leadership at the government level. We have a mayor who's grown up in the city and is for the people. We have a council that's diverse, reflects the community. We have a strong city manager who is trying to do the right thing and is out there on a daily basis, really supporting the city and its constituents. But also, we have a very strong faith-based community. We have a strong school district, and all the leaders from these different organizations tend to get together and gravitate to one another. We all know each other, and we try to put the framework in place so that if something does happen, we have some people that we can call upon to help.
Right. Yeah. Now, I grew up in Peekskill. I left when I was 4 years old. Lived on Harrison Avenue, and I'm related to a lot of people in Peekskill, the Buffaloes, and you might have went with high school with my cousin Tony Jones.
Oh, I know Tony. Yeah.
Yeah, big Tony. Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
I ran away from him on the football team.
Yeah. So
I wasn't fast enough sometimes.
Yeah. He's huge. So I know Peekskill, and coming up, going back and forth when I was younger, it wasn't I never saw a real racial divide. It wasn't like blacks and whites hated each other. And matter of fact, they loved each other because it was a lot of interracial. It's
still that way.
Yeah,
I mean, the high school does not. I mean, look, it's a high school that has problems. Like any high school has problems, but it doesn't have racial problems.
No, man.
You just don't see that. It never did when I was there. It doesn't now. That's just not one of the problems that it has, and that's a testament to the people of Peekskill. And you're right. There is a lot of interracial marriage and families that
I said the town's going gray, y'all.
Yeah. One of the security guards in the high school, he's a DJ, and he likes to say mulatto is our motto.
So many mixed kids. Yeah. Right, it's crazy.
I wonder, we had a comment on Facebook Live from Eric Short, and he agreed. He says he lives in Mount Vernon, and the police regularly transfer to other departments. And then he said, he just wrote now, I want to move to Peekskill now. Shout out to Eric Short.
Well, you just had a young lady that moved, that transferred.
One of our newest officers is a transplant from Mount Vernon. She transferred in.
Yeah.
So she's, I mean, look, I don't want to comment for, why.
Right.
I mean.
Right, but she left. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Mount Vernon they have to work on, the main thing they have to work on is the salary. Because, and that's a whole other issue. But
one of the things that she told me in her interview was how much she loved policing in Mount Vernon, though.
Yeah.
So that's important to know, that she didn't leave because she didn't like the community. She loved the community.
Right.
But salary's an issue for some people.
She got out in the nick of time. And I told her that too. I was like,
yeah, you did.
You got out in the nick of time because things are coming and you don't want to be there. But anyway,
that's a story for another. That's another chapter in the book for another day. Yeah. Let me ask you a question. And you may have covered this. I was typing and doing 10 other things, so I wasn't fully listening when y'all were talking. One of the things, and I've asked, we had our former Dallas police officer.
You talking about Preston Gilstrap?
We had him on,
yeah,
and former sergeant from the Dallas Police Department. And what I asked him, and I ask you the same thing, when you see these things going on with the killing of black men by officers, and then you see in 2 cities the killing of police officers, what do you tell your officers that next day before they go out?
You should tell them it every day, but it definitely brings it to the forefront about how you have to be vigilant. Policing is very random and spontaneous at times. You just don't know who you're dealing with. And to see what happened in Dallas and then 10 days later in Louisiana was very troubling. That people would choose to take it out on police departments. Number one, that had, well, in the case of Dallas, I mean, they seem to be answering for what other police departments were perceived to have been doing.
And from what I heard about that department, they were on top of a lot of things. They were getting rid of bad apples.
Yes.
If you look at Dallas, and I did my research on the Dallas PD, they are at the forefront of community policing. They were beloved in their community. I mean, in fact, we had a couple of officers that went down to the funerals in Dallas, and they sent back some photographs. And one of them was of banners that were hung from all the street lights in the downtown area saying that Dallas supports its blue. Dallas backs its blue, I think is the exact phrase.
Right.
And it's wow, they got that all together and put that up before, and just since what happened down there, they said, oh, no, absolutely not. This had been, it had been rolled out several months before. So, they had a very strong relationship with their community. And to see it happen there, I'm was shocking, I'm sure, to them and obviously to the rest of the world.
Yes, yeah. I mean, just as I said, I had met Chief Brown before, and I was good friends of Deputy Police Chief Malik Aziz out in Dallas, and I got to reach out to him and see if he could call in too. But they were on the forefront. I mean, they were definitely on the forefront, and they were a model police department for the nation. And just I said the same thing you said. It was sad that it had to happen. Had to happen in Dallas. But I think Chief Brown handled it well, and he gave a lot of the statements that he made was right and exact. And how do we change the perception? How do we continue to work on a relationship? And one thing was clear, even with the protesters. Take the test. I've been saying that for a long time. Take the test. Become a police officer, protect your community, and I think and then the press covered it well. But I think that's something we need to really push to our young kids. Come take the test.
You're right, and you bring up the test. I look at my watch. I believe the 25th tomorrow is the last day to file for the Westchester County test.
Right,
so
right.
You can still sign up to take it in November, and that test only comes around every 4 years. So if you're eligible to take it, now's the time to take it.
Now that test, the county test, that's for every police department.
That's for
or just Westchester County.
Westchester County towns, villages, and the cities of Peekskill and Rye. Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, White Plains, and Yonkers
have their own test. Okay,
yes.
Okay. So y'all heard that. Tomorrow, get over to the county building.
Yeah, I think you can even do it online. So
okay, yeah, get online.
Yeah, we posted something on Black Westchester. I'm going to pull it up and has all the information.
And don't complain if the registration is $50 or $100.
I think it's $100, which I was a little surprised at. That's a lot of money to ask for somebody who's looking for a job.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but I mean, you got to be in it to win it. And I think when I started, it was like 25 or 30.
I think you're right. I think that's what I paid.
But you know what? Let me just address that from a non-law enforcement perception. It's a lot of money. Oh, I can't do that. It's a lot of money. But when that Mega Millions is $600 million,
they go with $60,
you'll spend $50, $60, $70 easy and don't have a chance in hell in winning. You know what I'm saying? So this is for your future. I just put it in perspective. You know what I'm saying? And if it's something we want, we're gonna find. If that new show, that new movie, that new whatever's coming out, and the new Jordans is coming out,
they can find money for.
You'll find them $300 out of somewhere. A bill won't get paid or something, but you're gonna get the new Jordans. Because people was just talking about it the other day. Oh, yo, man, I stood online for like 3 hours. I got mine. I was just listening to. I guess something just came out. Because they was like 3 or 4 people like, I got mine this morning. It took me like 4 hours to get them. I'm like, yo,
but you know crazy. What? It's sacrifice. I had a talk with my son, and he was trying to go. They was giving out 1,000 applications for the union. So he says, I'm going Sunday night. I said, go Friday night. He said, I'm going to go Sunday night. I said, no, go Friday. I said, you should be there. When they close, you should be there. He got there Sunday night. It was over. He said they gave out 1,000 in 10 minutes.
Applications
wow. In 10 minutes for the union. But, it's sacrifice. It's understanding the need. And You know, I say this to a lot of kids. You know, $100, take the test. You know, take the test. You could change your life. You know, I mean, I was pushed to take the test. I took all the tests, but because my uncle was in corrections and my neighbor upstairs was a sergeant, so I used to see him all the time and all the nice stuff he used to have, and so I was like, all right, I'm going to corrections. You know, I could have jumped on one of the departments, but I went to corrections. And at that time, you know, the overtime in corrections was crazy in the 90s. You know, I mean.
Oh yeah, you slept there basically, didn't you?
Yeah. It was disgusting. But at 21, 22, making the amount of money that I was making, you know, I mean, it was a blessing. And having a young son, so it was a blessing.
Let me just tell you,
making a difference.
Right.
Yes.
Let me just tell you. So I was in the music business. And I used to write for a magazine, The Source, and all that. And, you know, I used to go to all the things, and me and him started a music company. So I would, take him to all of the events we went to. And we went to a rapper named Beanie Siegel. He was on the Rockefeller label. And Dame Dash was there. And he's one of the flashiest guys and all kinds of... And Damon's sitting in the room. Now, all of these people are in the room from all the major hip-hop media, important people like that. And Dame Dash kept looking over the room like, who the hell is that? Because he was more flashy than Dame Dash. He was like, who's this dude? Like, is he a drug dealer?
Yeah. I'm like, doing
a two-way. Yeah, he's just like, so he wanted to know who that dude was. It's like, because I'm like, he's like, you look like that. You look like him, but you was doing corrections.
Right. Yeah,
and he was running a rap empire. But he wanted to know who he was.
Yeah, because it's just the money. The money was ridiculous, man. I mean, in the 90s, and it was unfortunate because that was the whole thing with the mass incarceration and all that. But when you look back, oh Jesus, see, just missed overtime.
You missed that call, huh?
Yeah, just missed it. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so that was the whole thing, and I think it's good now with the tier 6, right? Tier 6 or 7?
Tier 6.
Yeah, it's kind of rough on the cats because the overtime is not included.
No,
in the pension.
No, it's not. They don't have the same benefits that we do, and they have to work 22 years, 2 years extra. But it's the overtime that makes a little bit of a difference.
Now now that you mention that, and there's correction officers that. There's a rumor going around that they're going to give corrections 20 years, and I don't think it's going to happen because they just gave police 22. Like how because police had 20 so long and we had 25. I can't see the governor, and then changing. Then the governor say, okay, well give corrections 20 and keep the police at 22. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I think it's just a re-election tool.
My old partner, when he was a detective, when we were detectives together, right. He had transferred from corrections. And he was always watching that because then it would have made his time a little shorter. If they would have switched.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So he was always watching to see if that would happen. But I don't think. I'm not too up on that right now.
Well, what's the guy? I mean, I had a guy from my class that went to Peekskill. Spanish guy.
I have a question from the
Spanish
from the internet.
Oh, you got a question?
Yeah, Brenda L. Crump, who holds us down. First off,
hold on one second.
First off, if we're talking about anything, she finds it and pulls it up. So as soon as you mentioned your name, she found an article. You just when you first got the job, she posts everything. But her question was, please ask Chief Johansson to share his thoughts on the blue wall of silence. All that is needed for the forces of evil to succeed is for enough good men/women to remain silent. And then she posted a link to sin by silence when they should protest makes cowards of men, Abraham Lincoln. And she wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I understand exactly what she's saying. And, look, I can only comment on my department. And, I've heard people say I'm not risking my career for anybody. And that's pretty much the way we operate. We know today, certainly in the last 5 years, and definitely even a shorter period than that, with the influx of cameras that are out there and the people with cell phone. I mean, it's like paparazzi following the police around now. I mean, every time you go on a call, the cameras are up, which is a good thing. I mean, in a lot of respects, is a very good thing. And a lot of police departments, including our own, have
please hold.
Have body cameras. So we capture our own incidents on camera. So, there's an old saying: the camera doesn't lie, and that only helps in our police agencies, and certainly helps with Peekskill.
We have a caller, and I'm going to switch to another story and come back to you. But before I do, Eric Short also asked, what is the age requirement for the Peekskill PD exam? And then he put age limit.
So to take the test, which is going to be given in November, you have to be 18 years old. You cannot get hired until you're 21, but there's usually about a 1-year time period between the taking of the test and then the actual certification of it. So you'd be certified at 19. Theoretically, the test lasts 4 years, so you'd have a couple of years to be appointed at 21. And I think the age limit, I believe, is 36. But that can be extended by up to, I think, 4 years.
Really?
Don't quote me on that if you're in the military.
Okay.
But there is, it is all online and under Human Resources for Westchester County.
Okay. And I think he was talking about, when you said a female officer, he said, I hope it wasn't Officer Long. She's an angel. I don't know what he was responding to. But that's what he just said.
We're glad to have her.
Oh. Well, there's the answer to your question. There's the answer to your question. I'm going to see if this is the call we were waiting for. Caller, please state your name and your purpose for calling.
Hi, this is Lakia Perkins. I'm calling in to discuss myself and Deja Stevens, my daughter.
Okay, this is what I wanted to go into. We're going to take a brief break if you stick around, and then we're going to get back to you. We have a young lady who is from the Westchester area. She is on her way to the Olympics, I believe.
Nice.
And she has a GoFundMe account to raise money for her and her mother to go. And this is her mother. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit. I'm pulling up your daughter's video. So tell us a little bit about your daughter.
Deja, a great young lady. And I'm not just saying this because she's my daughter. It's because of her humility, who she is. Thankfully, who I raised her to be. She's a young lady who's not had it easy, but honestly speaking, I've done everything in my power to make it easy for both Deja and Amira.
I want to stop you real quick too. I want to stop you real quick because we have a mutual. You know my cousin, so that's how we got in touch. Shout out to Michelle, to the Harrises, Michelle Harris, Mary Harris, and my Aunt Helen. But one of the things Michelle was speaking on, and I think this is very important to bring out, you were forced with the task of raising your siblings since like the age of 12. So you've been taking care of your siblings, and you've made a lot of sacrifices, and you're doing that for your children, and your children are succeeding because of it.
Yes, that is actually true. My mother was great, but unfortunately she was dealt some cards, and she needed the help of her oldest child, which was me, and I just fell into place. But it's only because of the grace of God and what he put inside of me to be able to have the tenacity to pull that off, because it was not easy.
Right. And now you have, what's your daughter's name that is going to the Olympics? Deja? Is it Deja?
Her name is Deja Stevens, D-E-A-J-A-H, okay. Stevens with the V, and I also have a 12-year-old daughter. Her name is Amira Shaban. Okay. Amira is going into the 7th grade at Hackley School in Terrytown.
Okay. We're going to go into the video of the race she just won. What was it, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago?
Yes, it was Sunday, the 10th, yeah.
I'm getting ready to play that live here in the studio.
Oh, nice.
Which one is she?
In the green. You'll see her.
Okay.
Good start there from Tori Bowie. Second to left. She's already moved past Thomas. Felix going well, though. She's closing on Prandini. But Bowie with the lead. A metre and a half as they come into the straight. Felix with a lot of work to do. The 400-metre run is strength beginning to tell. What a run in lane 4 from Deja Stevens. Stevens coming through for second place, or was it the win? I don't think so. I think Bowie just got there. That's a photo. But boy, what a run from Stevens. And for Felix, it was maybe one us too many.
The toughest team to make for a reason.
American sprinters are always strong, and Allison Felix will not get a chance to attempt to be only the third woman ever to win gold in the 2 and the 4 at the same event. She is 4th as we wait for the official confirmation. Jenna Prandini, the Oregon Duck, to the roar of the crowd, gets the 3rd spot. Allison Felix, she fought valiantly, Sonia, but it was just too much.
Tough loss for Allison. She started grimacing with, I want to say, more than 100 meters to go, and you never see Allison Felix grimace. Tough one for Allison. She won't be able to do that double that I know she was wanting to do so badly.
And this went almost according to how we had said it would. Tori Bowie on the outside, we knew she'd run fast from that outside lane. Deja Stevens stepped up big time to get 2nd.
Sorry about
Prandini,
that.
always a good finisher, was able to hold off Allison Felix, who was coming, but just ran out of room. Look at how close
And
that
she was the favorite,
A
the girl in the
hundredth of
blue.
a second.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they didn't think Deja was going to do that. If you guys noticed, they didn't even mention her in the beginning of the race. They only mentioned the other 3 girls. But it's okay.
She came out of nowhere, though.
Look at Deja Stevens making up
She
the
tends to
schedule
do
of
that.
Allison
But you know what? She's not an overnight sensation. Deja has been working hard over the last couple of years. Deja has progressed. She's put in the work. She sacrificed. She loved what she's doing right now, and she was able to get the recognition that she so deserved.
She almost came in first place. She almost.
I know. Did you see it? Like they both put their foot. And I noticed that Deja slowed up at the line.
Right.
She tends to do that, you know. But
I'm glad you said that because I thought that she could have pulled it off. It looked like she's. Because they said she was just happy. She was surprised
In a way,
that she won. She was.
that a benefit for Allison?
what she said is actually in one of her interviews is that she just was hoping she got at least 3rd place. She said she thought she came in 3rd or 4th because everyone was coming in together. She could not tell where anyone was at that point. She totally blanked out after the gun, went off. And she said when she looked up and she noticed that she had 2nd place, she said she kept looking at it like it was going to change, but she don't know why. She don't know why she was thinking that way.
She 0.5 seconds.
It's my first time coming to a championship.
She was 0.5 seconds behind the other girl.
It's a long journey.
Oh my goodness, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was
Your
amazing.
face tells me that you're just in shock. Can you
She's just,
describe your
I
emotions?
mean,
This
I
is her
couldn't be
right
more
now.
proud. I'm just glad that she started to have that faith in self that she needed. Because I'm always encouraging her, saying, you can do this, Day. Because Deja said that she thought she could potentially make the Olympic team for 2020. And I said, why not 2016?
It came to
I said, go out there and see what happened. But once she did so well in the NCAA championship last month in June, her coach said, you know what? I think you should just go ahead and try out for it. She didn't have expectations. She just wanted to go and see what happened, and she made it happen.
Now, what I want to talk about is you started a GoFundMe campaign, and I think it was an NBC interview. Her wish when they asked her what she wanted was not only to make the Olympics, was for my mother to be there with me, and that was part of the reason for the GoFundMe is to pay for you to be able to be there for her and be there with her. Am I articulating that right or?
Absolutely. The thing is, I'm a single mom. I'm an unemployed bookkeeper right now, and not only that, going on vacation is one thing, but all of the expenses of the Olympics, unless you was going through it yourself, you would not believe how astronomical the hotels, the airfare, the tickets for the flights are like $3,500 each. The hotel rooms, all you can find right now is something that's $100 and it's not suitable for a human, or hotels that are like $600 to $1,000 per night. And these are not luxury hotels. This is just what they're doing because they can. It's the Olympics. The tickets to get into the venue, $350 to watch the race. And I have to go with Amira, my 12-year-old. I cannot leave her behind because there had been times where I left her behind for track meets because I just couldn't afford to take her. But I can't leave her behind. So, the expenses are well over $12,000, $13,000. And I just don't have that money. And there's been a lot of generous people out there who've been helping me. I'm up to $8,000 right now, and it's so amazing, the generosity. It just touches my heart. But I really do need everyone to try to pull together, even if it's $5, $10, whatever they can do. You know, people who understand the struggle of a parent just trying to support their child.
I want to add to that. See, the reason, after hearing this earlier when my cousin Michelle called me, I understand. I think you said you're up to 8,000. You're at, trying to raise 13, but which would be the bare minimum. But ideally, you need more like 25. And I just want to say to everybody who listens to People Before Politics, we always talk about our youth. We always talk about the youth being out of control. We always talk about they're not doing anything. We always talk about you know, when the youth go off, you know, the path, we blame the parent. You know what I'm saying? And now we have a parent who is sacrificing, and we're seeing the results of her sacrifice. And I think your youngest daughter, was she at colleges looking at her at an early age? Am I correct about that, or something like that? Or
well, you know, not my younger daughter. Colleges was looking at Deja very early because Deja has natural gifts.
Right.
I mean, her talent is raw and it's natural. All of high school, Deja never lifted a weight. You know, she had no structure in her arms, but she was still able to pull it off and win races. She has records in New York, you know. But Amira, I'm just so blessed. I'm so blessed. She got into Hackley School. You know, she has a scholarship. I don't know if you guys know Hackley School. It's almost $40,000 for 7th grade. And as a single mom, I don't have that money, but my daughter was gifted. They saw, you know, that they wanted to open up and expand with diversity, and I pay a small, fraction of that because of my income. And I'm just couldn't be more thankful. She's into science. She's into Lego robotics, you know, nanotechnology is the age, and she's all in. She loves learning. I just got 2 wonderful kids, and I will do anything. I will stand them up. I will put them on my shoulders, whatever it takes to lift them. And I told both my children, if they do not succeed, it's because of their own fault, because I've done everything, and I will continue to do whatever it takes. It took a lot for me to come on here, to go out and ask people for help. But you know what? I need the help because I need to be there with Deja. Being in Brazil right now is not the most ideal situation, but I will go. I will be smart, you know, I'll be safe, but I will be there cheering her on.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring you. I wanted to have you on, and I want to say to the audience that listens, and what we're going to do, I'm going to chop this small portion of the video up, and I'm going to do a separate piece on Black Westchester, and also put that out there. We have to, in situations like this, we have to rally behind our mothers like this who have given so much for their children despite the odds. And we all know, you know what I'm saying? We hear about the statistics of single parenthood and all of this, and you know, you're an officer, so I'm sure you see, you know, the jails, and you deal with a lot of that, and you're in corrections, so I know you deal with the other end of a lot of that. So we need to support we need to all rally behind. It doesn't take a lot, and I don't do this where, you know, I try to call for people to give money, but this, I think, is something that is something we all should be passionate about. This young lady, just despite the odds, like I said, when they announced the race, they weren't even talking about her in the beginning of that race. They were talking about the girl that lost and the other girl, like, you know, she wasn't even supposed to be in the top 3. And, you know, they were like, oh, wow, did you see how she came out of no? You know, so she defied the odds, and we need to reward her. You know, you tell young people that they're rewarded for their hard work. You know what I'm saying? If they work hard, they can do.
Yeah.
Well, you got young lady that worked hard, and you have a mother who has worked hard and sacrificed. And I think that anybody listening to this show, the GoFundMe link is on the People Before Politics. It will be on Black Westchester as well this week. I think, you know, I don't know. I'm not telling everybody what they should spend. I'm not a pastor saying, hey, if you got $100, everybody hold it up. I'm not doing that. But I'm just saying, whatever you can do, I think this is something, a seed that's worth sowing. So I'm calling out for all the People Before Politics listeners in the Black Westchester magazine community to support this young lady and support her mom's, help get her mom and her sister over there. I think it'd be good for the younger daughter too to see a lot of times we don't see stuff outside of our community. So to be able to go there and see a sister in another country, I think that would be good educational-wise for her as well. You know what I'm saying? So role model, right? Yeah. But to get out of your surroundings and see that there's more to the world than whatever the little community that you live in. So I'm gonna keep putting this out there. What is the deadline? When are you leaving?
My plan to leave will be August the 13th. Okay. So anything, I mean, I just need people to know I'm grateful. If you give me $5, I will not look at you any differently if you gave me $500. I am immensely grateful for anyone who's able to open their heart to help me, with my mission to support my daughter. That's plain and simple, because this is exactly what I would do in return. So I just want to say thank you to you, AJ, and everyone out there, who are listening and who will support me and my children and my plight to just be the greatest mother that I can be.
Well, I'm going to champion this as the editor-in-chief of Black Westchester, too, on Black Westchester. And I encourage everybody, like I said, the GoFundMe link is on People Before Politics, and it will be on Black Westchester by tomorrow evening. And this week...
And we also we'll definitely do an email blast. We'll do an email blast with the article.
Right. We'll blast it out to the whole county. You're right. So we'll do our part, and you know what? Our listeners, we have some great listeners and great readers, and y'all congratulate us for doing a lot of things in the black community. Yes, we are the ones who bring it out when our community leaders and our politicians and elected officials are not doing their job. But this is what Black Westchester was created for, to build these stories up as well. And this is something you might not see on Low HUD and News 12. You know what I'm saying? But if the girl got in trouble, she'd be on front page. Everybody would know her name. So you know what I'm saying? So we need the support. We need to rally behind this family and support. And I thank you for calling. And if you want to talk to me offline, you can get my number from my cousin Michelle, and we can talk offline. But I thank you for calling, and I will keep pushing this out and have all my people push this out.
AJ, thank you so much for giving me this time. I really appreciate you. Okay?
Not a problem.
Thanks, everybody.
You have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, so again, this is it's good to do. Like, if you have a platform of any kind, I don't care if you got 5 listeners, 500 listeners, 5,000 listeners, or readers, it's good for us to talk about our anniversary party. That was great. It was good. It was good to talk about our stuff, but we have to big stuff up like this, and I'm passionate about stuff like this. And this is a young lady from Westchester. We need to get behind her and make this happen. We need to make this happen. So I know some of our listeners do have some deep pockets, and I'm going to personally be calling y'all. But everybody out there, if y'all,
I know someone we're calling when we get in the car.
Yeah, yeah. And everybody, like I said, if everybody that's listening and tells everybody who's listening, just does the minimum, you know what I'm saying, we'll be able to send this family. But whatever you can afford, this is definitely a seed worth sowing. So I'm going to end that there. The rest of this will be on Black Westchester. The story will be up tonight, tomorrow night probably. And we'll be pushing that out. So, and again, the link is on the People Before Politics Facebook page right now if you want to go there now. And click that button and, drop a little something up in there. All right, that's enough of that. So back to the chief from Peekskill. I wanted to interrupt and do that.
Absolutely, that's important.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's
nice story.
Yeah, and I watched the video. I mean, and my cousin, and shout out to my cousin Michelle. She tried to give me the hard sell. I'm like, listen. I just need the details. I got you, But she was passionate about this too. So I would have been passionate if it wasn't a cousin that called me. But
it's a good positive story.
It hit. I mean, if you have a cousin that does what we do, you're supposed to call your cousin. So that's what you're supposed to do. Me and David get those family calls. Hey, cousin so-and-so needs such and such. So, but that's what you're supposed to do. So back to Peekskill. So I've shared this on all the Peekskill pages. I'm not going to go back to each one of them, so I don't know if they're leaving comments or not. Anybody who's listening for Peekskill, if you have comments, go to the People Before Politics 914 Facebook page, or just hit me in a Facebook inbox and I'll answer your questions. Shout to your council member Andre Noodle Rainey. He was here last week.
Oh, okay.
And he's been here. He came. Him and the lady Mackenzie.
Oh, Vivian McKenzie.
Right.
Yep.
They both came when they were running.
Okay.
And they were one of. We proud to say they were one and two of the 16 candidates who came on People Before Politics who all won the election. Not saying
nice.
that, if you don't come, you won't win. But
Congratulations.
I'm just saying, they
You
came
have
and they
better
won.
odds winning coming on the show.
Even though some people in the Democratic Party told you not to come, obviously it's not. The only person that came on and actually lost is Chris Johnson, who was a councilman, and Yonkers, the person that was running against her, and God, that's like a football game on Sunday. And both say, "God, help me win." He can only answer one prayer. Like he can't answer both of those.
Well, they both came on the show.
But they both came on the show. So I don't consider that a loss because there was no way that both of them could win. But yeah, she's the only one. And Janice Duarte, who ran for city council, and
but Janice Duarte,
5 weeks she got over 2,000 votes.
She was just on the independence line.
She wasn't in the Democratic
she started
primary or nothing.
Campaigning from the primary to November, 5 weeks, and she made history as a candidate on a minor party line in a Democratic city, getting 100 votes less than a sitting senator.
Wow.
Right. So I mean, other than that, and she will probably go over in the 2017 election, and she'll probably be in the primary this year. You know what I'm saying? So but we had out of New Rochelle, White Plains, Yonkers, 2 county legislators, 2 from Peekskill, all of them won. So
Excellent.
yeah. So that's a little pat on the back a little bit, because we were the show that people who were told not to come on, and those who were told not to come on, they didn't win. So anyway,
so they're rethinking that.
Yeah. So some of those that didn't come on in the last election that are running again, I think they're going to pay a visit this year. So yeah, but so we had him on, and and I wanted to say this too while we have the Peekskill audience. He left a comment. This is your councilman Rainey, saying that he thanked me for covering the forum and said something along the lines of they needed more unbiased reporting and journalists in Peekskill or something, and that was some kind of conversation going back and forth I didn't pay attention to. But I put this out. I told the councilman, I put a few other people, because I live in Mount Vernon, so you know what I'm saying. It's not. I don't know all the players in Peekskill. It would be impossible for me to be covering the day-to-day there.
Right.
But I welcome anybody who is a writer, who does have boots on the ground, who does know the terrain and everything like that, who would be willing to cover more Peekskill issues. I will post, you know what I'm saying? So Peekskill can have more of a presence. I just can't be there every day. I can't, you know what I'm saying? It's not around the corner. It's not like, and I don't know all the players. Like, New Rochelle, I know more of the players, because I know more of the players, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know the players up there. So I put that out there again. I've invited anybody out there who wants to write, who wants to put some order, cover the.
You got my emails on the National Night Out, right?
Yes, I did. And matter of fact, since you're talking,
let's talk about the National Night Out in Peekskill.
Right. So this year we're trying to do something a little different. The police department has always been involved in National Night Out, but the Youth Bureau has really taken the lead on it, as they have again this year. But it was always in a park, and it was a DJ and basketball games and different things like that. This year they moved it to make it more of a block party type of atmosphere. And the business improvement district got involved, and the restaurants are getting involved, and they're all, coming out and supporting it with food, and then there's a T-shirt exchange where you can hand in any T-shirts that advertise alcohol or drugs, and if you turn them in, you'll get a nice swag bag with some good gear in there, and it's just an opportunity for everybody to get out and hang out on a nice summer night, eat some good food, make some new friends, and just get to know one another, because sometimes that's sometimes where we lack. We drive by people every day on both sides, whether it's the police driving by a neighborhood or neighborhood driving by each other, and we don't take the time to get to know one another. That's sometimes where we fail the most, and this is just an opportunity to to meet one another and make friends.
Right now, National Night Out. If I'm correct, a lot of the communities celebrate each community.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a number of communities in Westchester that are doing this. It's not unique to Peekskill, but we've been doing it for a number of years, and this I'm hoping this is going to be the biggest one yet.
Well, yeah, man, you having it around the bars and stuff.
Well, there will be no alcohol served, obviously. But look.
That's
an area where adults hang out.
And the kids
that's sometimes they look at that. And I wonder what that's all about. Well, here's an opportunity for them to hang out.
Right, and you can get more people involved
and see
instead
what
of the
about.
kids. Yeah, I think that's good, and especially getting the business district involved, because the business district is part of the community also.
Absolutely. Again, it goes back to what our community is. It's a very tight knit community with people that want to be involved, and that's what makes us the community that we are.
Right, and that's part of the whole spiel of the police and the community are one, and the police being the extension of the community, which is supposed to be, and being stakeholders. So all that falls in line, and when you involve the residents, you involve the businesses, and you involve those that work in law enforcement. I mean that has to be done, and more communities need to do that.
Yeah, I agree. You can't leave your community that you work in the rearview mirror.
But many people do.
Yeah,
many people do. I mean, and then it's forgotten about until they get up in the morning and they put the blue uniform and then they drive an hour,
right.
back to the community, and I think that's what's that's what's missing. And I could tell the difference in my wife. She's born and raised. She's a detective in Mount Vernon. She's born and raised, and her relationship is totally different. Something can go down and they could call her. She could be on vacation, and someone could call, well, I know what happened. She's like, well, I'm not even in town,
right.
Because they have that rapport and they have that trust, but then you get those that don't, and even being in corrections, I've watched kids grow up, being locked up, then I watched their sons, or daughters come to jail, and it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't make it feel good.
No, it not at all, because you wonder why. Wonder if you start wondering. I think maybe in my 7th year, I was like, is this really working? You know what I'm saying? Because I remember one day, we have 3-day swings, 3 days off every other week. I discharged the girl, right, and I come back after 3 days. And she comes out. Wait, she comes out the same cell that she was discharged 3 days before, And I'm standing there, and she's looking at me, and I'm looking at her like, "Yo, wait a minute, what happened here?" So she didn't even last long enough for them to put another body in the cell, and she came back to jail. So and that taught me a lesson. I'm like, yo, this thing is not working. It's not working, and it has to change. And we're really just having this conversation 24 years later, or 20 some odd years later.
And that's one of the things that we believe in as a police department. We believe in getting to the youth while they're young.
Right.
And not just ending at DARE class. I mean, I can't tell you, how many times I've had a parent come up to me when their child was arrested when they were 16, 17 years old for drugs, and the parents say, "Well, he took DARE." It doesn't end at DARE. It goes much further than that. So we in Peekskill, what we now do is we extend that into the middle school with gang resistance training. We just rolled out a new program in the high school called Real Talk. With the support of the high school administration, where we send officers into the school and we interact with 9th graders and just really sit in a roundtable discussion with them and learn who they are and let them learn who we are.
Right.
I mean, we found that people look at us like we're just cops. They don't realize that we're fathers and mothers, that we're baseball and football coaches, that
That's
we go
right.
to church, that we
That's
have
right.
interests and hobbies.
That's right.
You know, and they see that human side of us, and then we get to see the other side of them, and it just builds relationships. We have our Youth Police Academy coming up. It's starting on Monday. It's a 2-week academy for 12 to 16-year-old kids to really experience what it's like to be a police officer. And
Right.
we bring in police officers, not just from Peekskill. I mean, these are cops that live up in Dutchess County, who give their time, come back down to Peekskill on their off-duty time to hang out in the youth academy and get to know the kids and show them what it's like. So
Good,
we're
good.
just constantly trying to build relationships, and we see that that's how we can change behaviors by just building long-lasting, strong bonds.
Right, and I think that's the key. A lot of youth, you know, even like we have a mentorship program that we do in Mount Vernon, and it's going to start up. It's going to start up in September again, and just them seeing that you're normal, you know what I'm saying? That you're human. That you know you have kids and you do normal things.
Yeah.
You know. Oh wow, Mr. Jones is actually normal. You know, so once they see that, it breaks down the barrier.
Absolutely.
It definitely breaks down the barrier, and that's what we need. I mean, we need more of that, and we need more. You know, we need to talk to the kids more, because there's a video that I did, and it was shocking. You know, after the Eric Garner incident, and we talked to the group of kids just to get their reaction, and for these 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds. And the things that were coming out their mouth, on what they saw, it was like, yo, we got to change this, because these kids they're watching news. News is 24 hours a day,
And it's graphic.
Right.
It's so graphic now.
Right.
They're seeing things today that,
Right.
we didn't see as 11
Right.
and 12-year-olds. It's just
Right.
all over the place, and it's got to
Right.
be shocking to them.
Right, and
And
we
they
have
need
to
to understand
change
it.
that. Right,
We have to talk to them. We can't leave it. You cannot allow an 11-year-old person to see somebody die right in front of them, because that's what's happening, and then not talk to them about what they saw. You have to do that.
Right. No, you have to, but and some of the parents are not doing it, and then some of the ignorance that come out the parents' mouths too, is kind of crazy. But you also have to have dialogue with these kids.
Absolutely.
You have to continue to have dialogue with them, so they can see that that law enforcement is part of the community. But it's an ongoing, man, because every time you think you make an inroad, then there's an incident. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ.
That's a big setback.
Yeah. you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh God, here we go. We got to go. It's almost like going back to square one, because then they're looking at you like, yeah, I thought yeah, all that stuff you just said. Look, and
Right.
then how do you? Then you just gotta then you gotta work past that. I mean, you have to work past that. Even with everything that Obama did after the shooting of the cops in Dallas, he had the town hall forum. He had this. He had that. Then boom, you had the guy in Miami, get shot with his hands up, and the cop
Right.
says, "I don't know." How do you recover from that?
Yeah.
Even as the president, and he really didn't even address that. But how do you, after you did all this, a couple of weeks later, this happens. So how do you recover? Even if you tried to get mend some fences, let's all come together. Boom, you have this incident, and then how do you recover that as president? You can if the president can't recover, how are we in local community? How are we going to recover?
I think you just have to keep stressing the positive.
Right.
And the negative's going to happen, unfortunately, and it's going to be a setback. But the positives, I think we always see outweigh the negatives. And
Yeah, well, we
gotta
have to.
continue to focus on that. Without you can't sweep the negatives under the rug, because
Right.
then you'll never recover.
Let me ask you a question. So, I know y'all don't have a lot of certain problems going on, and like I said, I'm glad that y'all got up ahead of the situation with the forum. But no place is perfect. How can you make it better?
Well, you have to, first of all, you have to recognize that. If you think your place is perfect, then you're just naive. So that's what we do. We're constantly looking to make ourselves better. We constantly are are at the forefront with training and those kinds of initiatives. We're constantly building relationships. We're constantly looking for ways to do things better. And we try to be transparent and open and honest. And if people have issues, I encourage them to bring them to me if they don't get satisfaction at the lower level. And certainly if they're not satisfied with me, they can go above me. So there's always someone to go to.
I'm glad you said that because, in talking to a lot of people, and maybe they're not familiar with you specifically, but now they live in Peekskill, the relationship is what it is.
Right.
If I've just been violated by a cop, the last place I want to do is go to the police department and file a complaint.
Well, it's funny, you bring that up, and right after Ferguson happened, the Peekskill Area Pastors Association, in conjunction with some other community leaders, they invited me to sit down with them and build really a collaborative group that would respond to an incident that needed response from leaders of the community. And one of the things that came out was exactly what you just said. The last place I want to go if I feel I was violated by the police was to go to the police department and ask them for their complaint form. Because we have a complaint form, as do, I'm sure, most police departments. They just didn't feel comfortable, and I get that. So we put it on our website, and now you can download it from the website, you can fill it out, and just hit send, and it comes directly to me. It doesn't go to anybody else, it comes to me. It's a simple form. It allows you to really explain what happened, and I promise, I pledge to my community that if I get one of those forms, I will get in touch with you, and we can sit and talk. And if you're not comfortable with me, I have bosses too, and they're very approachable. So we try to keep it open. Look, I'd be naive to think we're never going to make a mistake. We do. We make mistakes. Hopefully, we keep them to the minimum, and the mistakes that we make are minimized. But there has to be that's the only way we can improve is if we know we made a mistake. Right. We can address it. We can deal with the officer or the civilian in the department that might have done something wrong. No matter how small, and if it's large, obviously, we want to hear about it too. So that's how we improve.
Okay, and like you said with the the Dallas situation, that community supported their police, and you see what happened. So even in a community like that, it takes one incident. You know what I'm saying? And then everything's...
Yeah, look, when you look at what happened in Dallas, and this country has a mental health issue as well. And those individuals who are bent on creating havoc, who might not be well mentally, are in every community. So it can happen anywhere. It just so happened that it happened in Dallas, and it happened on national TV, and it's just tragic what happened there.
Since we're talking about mental health, I know after the Kenneth Chamberlain Sr. Incident in White Plains, Kenneth Chamberlain Jr., I'm good friends with him. He's a friend of the show. He was come on the show, and one of the things he discussed is the training, mental health training. And actually the support from the county that they actually cut back. I think the mental health unit.
They had a crisis response, mobile crisis response.
Right now that affects even communities like cities like Peekskill also. And how do we as a community, not just Peekskill but Westchester, because it affects everybody, try to get the crisis team up and running, so we won't have incidents like the Kenneth Chamberlain or Mr. Cruz in New Rochelle.
Right. Well, I think the best way is to go to the lawmakers and really lobby them for the help. The mobile crisis teams. I mean, when I was a patrolman back in the 90s, it used to take an hour or two for them to get there. And you'd say, man, what's taking them so long? They don't come now. So, an hour or two is well worth it. Yeah. They're just, they get cut. And, it's difficult. We in Peekskill, we bring them to the hospital. We get an ambulance and we bring them there. And that takes manpower off the street to get them down to the hospital. It's not the hospital in Peekskill. It's out of town. And it's definitely a drain on the resources.
Yeah, that's one of the and for the listeners, throughout Westchester, I think, it's like I said before, even with the county legislators meetings, there's nobody in there. It's worse than the city council meetings. You know, when you go to the county legislative meeting, if you have 10 people, you pack the joint. You know, so I'm telling all the listeners, they need to start going to the county legislators meeting and requesting from their county legislators to reinstate the crisis team, make it full time, you know, to help police departments like Mount Vernon, Peekskill, White Plains, all throughout, because it goes back to, you know, what I said in Peekskill. It goes back to what the hell just happened moment. You know, people wake up and they cut something, and you don't know why it's cut because you don't take part of the political process. And I think everybody that's listening, you need to take a date and go to the Westchester County Legislators meeting and ask them why they have cut the crisis team for especially the EDPs and the mentally ill. So
absolutely,
and that'll help everybody out.
I want to take this time. There's a lot of people I see on Facebook listening for the first time. You're just tuning in. You're listening to Black Westchester Presents People Before Politics Radio, and I see we have a lot of Peekskill people on the check-in. Marty Walsh, John Hodgins, Debbie Sniffin. If I mispronounce your name, I'm sorry. I see Jim Killeran from Habitat for Humanity's on.
Hey, Jim. What's happening, Jim?
Leslie Phillips, Loyola, Helen Ray Peters. Trying to get to some of the other names. Lee Carolyn Brown hit me. She's definitely on the check-in. And everybody else who's in the check-in. If I didn't say your name.
Hey, Lee put me in touch with the chief.
Okay. There you go. So I just want to, shout everybody out who's listening.
I recognize a lot of those names. It's nice to see that they're
okay.
Yeah, a lot of friends of mine.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, they all click like, so I'm assuming they're listening. They're following because I got the.
That's cool.
We do the station now does Facebook Live.
That's cool.
So I posted those Facebook Live things. So you can just click on that and watch it right there.
Oh, nice.
On the Facebook page. I put on all the Peekskill Facebook pages.
Okay.
So
cool.
So anybody in Peekskill listening, welcome to the show. Go ahead. I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh yeah,
people might just tune in.
Yeah, you broke the flow, man.
No, but sometimes when people are listening, what happens is people are listening for the first time.
Yeah,
and they don't know what they're listening to. So you gotta.
Oh well, yeah.
And if we was on commercial radio, we would be taking commercial breaks. So we had to take that moment.
Okay.
The moment of pause for the. Yeah,
I get it. I get it. You broke
no
my
commercials,
phone.
huh?
No.
We straight through. Straight 2 hours.
Nice.
We do pay sponsors. Like if somebody want to sponsor, their name will be mentioned as the sponsor. Throughout the show or something like that, or
but we just go,
straight 2 hours,
and the 2 hours go fast when you're having good conversation. It doesn't,
and it's uncut, and this is real talk for the community.
Yeah,
absolutely, real talk for the community.
Absolutely.
So things that don't normally get said anyplace else will get said here.
Yeah. Oh yes, it does.
Names get mentioned. Everything.
You can't call in if you don't mention a name. Yeah. Well, so he's like, click, hang up, call back when you're ready. But I really think people just have to get involved because people don't know about the crisis team. They don't know that the county has cut it, which put a burden on you and it puts extra work on the police officers, and then it costs extra training to deal with that when the county should just step up and continue to do what they're doing, and to cut it when you have a lot of these incidents that's going throughout Westchester County and dealing with deaths of people that have mental problems. I think it's crazy that Astorino cut it. He needs to come on the show. We're going to get him on the show about that.
So anybody who knows Rob Astorino, the county executive, we are inviting him. But still, he knows people that listen to the show, and some people in his camp because they're following us on Twitter and everywhere else. So anybody who knows the county exec, we are extending an invitation, and you will get a phone call specifically.
I do think that the crisis team has been cut long before Mr. Astorino, though. I mean, in fairness to him, that it was one of the first cuts, a long time ago.
Really?
And it's a tough resource. I mean, we missed that resource.
We got to look into that.
To come in, to come up to a situation and deal with it is very helpful.
We have to look into that because according to Kenneth, it was under Astorino's watch.
It could be.
Yeah, that and that was the main thing, around questioning his father's death, the training of the officers. The officers wasn't trained to deal with, and what happened. Well, and he can explain it more.
Yeah, I'm sure he can. But I can tell you that since his death, there has been a lot more training available to police departments on dealing with the mentally ill and mental health challenges that come about because of it. And I've sent my officers to that training, and there's been some policies that have been revised and things like that. And again, we try to minimize that. Obviously, that's a tragic situation
we have
for everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, we have to use every incident as a learning tool.
Absolutely.
We really do. But what? Now, what do you? You're in Peekskill. Policies and procedures in Peekskill. Yonkers. Their policies is totally. Why you laughing, man?
No, I'm sorry, but Eric Short. This one last time, he said, "Thank you for putting me at ease in regards to the Peekskill PD. I'm hoping they become a model for the rest of the county." And then he said, "Please don't shoot. A big, giant, bald-head black guy is going to come into the Peekskill Police Department headquarters and start randomly hugging you guys." So that's why I was reading that.
Oh, okay. All right.
And shout to Eric. He said he's definitely going to hit that GoFundMe page too.
Oh, yeah, great, cool. Great. Now is there one thing we saw that there is no you could correct me if I'm wrong, but like each police department, I know it's state minimum standards, but is there any like county standards that the police departments have to actually go by outside of the state minimum standards?
I don't know about county, but I know Yonkers. I'm pretty sure Yonkers is, and I know we are accredited by the state of New York, DCJS. So those standards are all developed and then followed up by the state.
Can't use Yonkers. They're under the DOJ investigation. Don't use Yonkers.
Okay, well, I'll say Peekskill, our policies and procedures are amongst the best practices.
Right, there you go.
By the state of New York, by the International Association of Chiefs of Police.
Okay.
When we have new things that come out, like for instance our body camera program, we researched what other departments did. We researched what the IACP recommended. Looked at state recommendations, and we formulate what we believe to be the best practices.
Right. Have you looked at national accreditation?
We have CALEA.
Yeah.
Is the acronym for that? I think
at least you know about it.
It's expensive.
I know.
You have to pay for it,
yeah.
And it's in times of tough budgets.
Kudos to you. At least you knew about it because the Public Safety Commission, Westchester County, in testimony, had no clue what it was. So see, this is
well. I think
no, but I'm giving you kudos for it because, I mean, you know why I say that because a friend of mine who was I can't remember her name. She was a recruiter for Dallas Police Department.
Okay,
and she had came to New York to actually recruit some officers, to interview some officers that showed interest that they wanted to come to Dallas Police Department. I mean, she traveled the country bringing in police officers. But one of the things that was she had a problem because the police departments they were coming from was not nationally accredited under CALEA. And she was telling me, she was like, listen, these officers, even though they had 5-6 years on the job, they had to go through the whole academy again because the academies wasn't nationally accredited. If the academies were nationally accredited, they would have just come in and had the 2-week training and this and that. But because they wasn't, they had to go through they had to go through the whole academy. And I thought that was like crazy. I was like, she was like, no, because they're not nationally accredited. So we have to send them through our academy. Yeah, I thought that was
I can tell you though that the state accreditation standards are very stringent. They're constantly looking at them and updating them and editing them, revising them as times change. And my brief knowledge of CALEA, I'm not intimately aware of all of the standards that they have, but they're pretty similar.
Right.
So to actually go through with another accreditation
it costs money.
Costs a lot of money. It's a lot of time. And frankly, we just don't
Scarsdale
have
is
it.
the only one in Westchester, but
Yeah.
Scarsdale got the money.
And no, you think about it. You look at jobs like Scarsdale and Eastchester and,
Right.
and Yorktown, and and then you look at Peekskill. We've got the same number of officers as those smaller communities, and
Right.
I'm not
You do
taking
a lot
anything
more-
away
you
from
do a
them.
lot
They
more
do
work.
great- They do
Yeah,
great
yeah,
jobs,
yeah, right.
but
No,
they
we
have
get it.
resources to do additional things.
Right. They
My
got
guys
resources.
do it on overtime, and that's
Right.
you were talking about overtime before.
I just got hired.
Yeah, it's good. All right, good. But it tires you out. You got to be there.
Yeah,
and-
well,
and
tell
it's
me
a
about
drain,
it.
So
Tell me about it. It's people think one thing people think when the press, this is what I hate when the press says, oh, he does all this overtime. The officer actually had to go to work to do that. He actually had to put the hours in to do it.
right,
It's not-
the press puts it out like overtime is a bad thing. First of all,
Right.
it's not like they're going into a room somewhere and sitting there. They're going into a patrol car and doing their job.
I didn't say a word.
I missed something.
I didn't say a word.
That's it, man. When you said he's not going to a room in the city, he's looking at me like,
Overtime is spent
that's right, he spent good money.
doing a job. It's time spent away from an officer's family. It's in addition to
Right.
So
No, we do not go in a room
No.
and we do not sit there. I don't care
Absolutely
what
not.
y'all say when I do when I go into work. We do not.
let me do something that we normally don't do. They say we only talk about the bad. We never talk about the good. So I got a text message from Norina, and she said, my truck just got a flat, and guess who helped me? And it's 2 Mount Vernon police officers
Nice.
helping her fixing her tire.
And she took a picture of
it.
it.
Yeah. So
There you go.
So while we don't always say good things about the Mount shout out to those officers in the Mount Vernon Police Department who changed her tire.
And that's-
and I'm just saying we have to do both. Like, and now if they do wrong, I'm gonna bring it out. So and we clown the department a lot of time. We give them a hard way to go, but I got to give that person those
Look.
2 officers their props. So
Look,
good.
99.9% of the officers are good officers, no matter what police department you're in. It's that 1%. It's that 1% that sometimes and look, the police department is a reflection of society.
you're right.
There's some people that I know that should not have that damn job. It is what it is, and everybody.
No,
I
there's
don't
some
care if
people
you
I know
work-
that shouldn't be in the post office.
Right,
There's
right.
some people that
I
shouldn't
don't
be in the
care-
supermarket.
Right, I don't care where you're at. You could work at IBM, McDonald's, hotel. If you talk to anybody in any industry, they will tell you, I know someone that should not be working in my job. I don't care if it's a mailroom. We all got it's a
Some
reflection
people that
of
shouldn't be
society.
elected officials. Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
And every one of them comes in when it's our job to hire them. Every one of them comes in their nicest suit. They put on the best behavior, and they tell us all the good things about them.
Yeah, it's like
And
the first date.
Yeah,
You know, like, no, for real. When you go to meet that real fly girl, you don't tell her none of your dirt. You don't tell her none of the stuff you did. Oh, you spent money that day. You might be the cheapest dude in the world, but everything's all good.
But that girl's father is going to figure you out, and that's our job as police administrators
Right.
to figure out who that 1% is and send them walking.
Right.
Before something bad happens.
And
that's what we do in Peekskill. We keep an eye out. We try to identify those that just are not cut, and we will get rid of them. I mean, and that's our job, frankly.
No, and that's it. But some squeak. Some squeak through the cracks. They get through.
They do.
I mean, but that's the human nature, and that's. But see, But that's the whole thing, and I think that's what some people say. Well, you don't, they don't hold them accountable. But there's a process, and we all know there's a process, and we just have to we just have to have the proper accountability, and I think with that, the trust will be there. The actual trust will be there. But I mean, policing is a hard job. I mean, it's definitely dealing with people on a day-to-day basis
In their worst situations. So.
right is a very hard job.
Well, let me put it another way. I tell a fireman and I see them. You know what? You have to be a special person to be a police officer and a fireman.
First of all, I'd rather be a
Secondly-
correctional officer than be a fireman any day.
Secondly, the reason I say that, when bullets are coming and when fires in buildings, the natural progression of humanity tells you to go to hell in the opposite direction, but y'all run to it.
And you saw that.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, seriously.
You saw that in Dallas.
Right.
And you saw that with the woman who jumped on her son to shield him.
Right.
And then the police officer jumped on the woman.
Right.
And she told the story. And that's what police do. That's what firemen do. That's what correction officers do.
Because I'm going to be honest, I would like to think, I'm being real. This is real. I would like to think I would do the right thing. But you're talking about a burning building and somebody who's not related to me, and they in there right now, and you just run in there because you hear somebody's in there. And I've been talking to some of the firemen. They said they did a fire, and the lady was like, "Oh, my baby." So a baby, that's a big thing. They ran in there, all of them. It was a cat.
It was a cat.
Yo, that was like,
in the 90s, man, we used to have the fire brigade.
Oh, at the jail,
at the jail. We used to have the fire brigade, and they don't do none of that anymore. But that should come. It should come back. And I did 1 week of training. I was like, man, firemen, much respect.
Yeah, it's no joke. It's
much respect. And I prayed there was never a fire in that jail because it's just too hot. It's already hot. It's already over 100 degrees in the summertime. So imagine just having a flame, and those mattresses go up. The mattresses go up like that, and then you got to try to get the fool that lit the mattress out first, and then deal with everything else.
And the smoke.
But and it smokes up. So much respect to the firemen, man.
But even like the police, but it's the police. Y'all have to go in the direction of the bullets.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, bullets come, I'm going the opposite direction. Like,
The other thing I think is important to point out, and what's unique here in Westchester County, it's often talked about in the negative, is that we have so many police departments. I think it's 41.
Well, you got 43 municipalities.
43 police departments. But that allows each municipality to have an intimate knowledge of their own community,
right?
And that helps, and we've got to use that to our advantage.
No, I do agree with that. I mean, sometimes they try to talk about making them small, making them one big police department. They talk about
then you lose your identity, and then you're going to lose the relationships.
And you know what? And that's what happened. What was Osland that the county took over?
The town of Osland, yeah.
Yeah, and I think they went back, right? Because they didn't. Because I know that a lot of people was complaining because the cops didn't know the community. You know what I'm saying? They were sending, and I don't know if they went back, but I've heard
of Osland now has it. Yeah,
they wasn't that happy. They're not that happy.
So the village of Osland is now covering the town of Osland.
Right. Okay. So they got rid of the county.
Right.
Yeah, because I heard they wasn't that happy.
I'm not sure why.
But let me also say this too, though. While you said you wouldn't want to be a fireman, I give you a lot of respect too, correction officers, because when y'all arrest them, y'all take people off the street that need to be off the street, and then you have to be locked up in there with them for 8 hours a day.
My dad,
all the people we want off the street, you have to deal with. Like, you know what I'm saying?
My dad made me take every civil service test, and the only one I wouldn't take was CO. I give you guys a lot of credit. I did not want to be a correction officer, and it's a tough job.
You think you got the worst of them? There are people. There's people that shouldn't be locked up, but there are definitely people I personally know that. Thank God they're in jails. Let's just put it for real. They deserve to be. They need to be in those jails.
Yeah, and you look at correction officers. A lot of them would make great police officers because they know how to deal with people.
There's an interesting thing when he always said, and I told you that before, the police. And I think this is a good idea, and I don't know who we should implement. The police should actually, when he talks about having to deal with 60 certain people and you have no weapons, conflict resolution is a whole nother level. You don't got no gun to pull out. Like, you have to learn how to.
Yeah.
And I think he said somewhere in Florida where the sheriff's department.
The sheriff's department.
They make
you have to work in the jail for 2 years before you're allowed to work the street. Everybody. That's the policy.
You might be onto something there.
Right. You have to work in the jail. And I always said that 2 weeks or 3 weeks should be part initial of police in the police academy, that they have to go work into the jail and learn how to talk, because these are the same people you're going to see on the street regardless of the fact.
That's an excellent idea.
But you learn how to diffuse situations. You do not have the gun. You have nothing but your mind and your verbal judo to diffuse situations. There's one officer with 60 inmates, and you're locked in there with them. and you got to deal with that.
And I think we'll weed out some people that should not be police officers. They'll be like, the hell with this.
well, that will happen too because you'll weed out some people through that process. Yeah, because we hardly keep half of academy anyway. Because once they get in, but I mean,
I think you guys might be onto something. I think that's a really good idea.
But that's something that has to come from the county.
Yeah.
But that's something that they didn't. That I was shocked when I went down to a conference in Florida, and one of the female sheriffs told me. She says, "No, we can't go on the street. We got to work in the jail for 2 years, and able to go on the street."
You bring up female officers too. I mean, you can learn a lot from that. I tell you a quick story. Most people that know me know I'm married to a police officer. She that's where I met her on the job. She's now retired, but I went to a call with her. I'll never forget. It was a family dispute. The guy was bigger than me. Now I'm 6'3". At the time, I was a little lighter, but I was still a big guy. and I'm there with this female officer who wasn't my wife at the time. Right. But I'm like, oh man, how are me and her going to take him down?
Right.
And it wasn't anything like that. She took him down with her mind.
Right.
And really, you learn a lot from people like that. That can use their brain to mitigate a circumstance. And you talk about the jail, and that's what you have to do in the jail.
Yeah.
We have a lot more situations where officers would de-escalate
Absolutely.
as opposed to escalate. Because I've seen too many times where it's the officer who has actually escalated the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that happens. Trust me. There's those that do it in the jail too, and you're sitting there like,
told guys,
God,
look,
what are you doing?
don't send that guy to back me up. I'll handle it myself.
Like, yo, keep this guy out of here, man. But like we was going, there's people, no matter what job, you're like, I do not want that guy coming with me. I'll go with him. I don't want, and then the supervisors know I'm not taking this officer. I'm taking y'all two. Let's go and deal with the situation because they know how the officer is. But at the end of the day, we have to. And I always told them, do you want me to treat you like an inmate or you want me to treat you like a human being? You have the option for that. Now, if I treat you like an inmate, you're gonna have a rough time. If I treat you like a human being, it's gonna be mutual respect. Because at the end of the day, you have to come for me with anything. If you need toilet paper, you got to come see me. If you need to go to the doctor, you have to come see me. If you need anything, you have to come see me. So, at the end of the day, you could call me whatever you want to call me. But if you need something, you have to come see me. Like a guy called me Uncle Tom because I didn't want to give him an extra blanket. He didn't get underwear for 4 months. Oh, I'm Uncle Tom? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be your Uncle Tom. He didn't get new underwear for 4 months. Until he heard that I was bidding to another bid, he said, "Oh, I can finally get underwear now." I said, "No," because I left it sticky on the computer that you're still not getting underwear. But I mean, it shouldn't have to be like that. But sometimes it's like that. You have to show, in the same way in the street, you have to show respect. So I get the police. They're doing a service. They want respect, but it's a two-way street. It's definitely a two-way street.
I want Brenda Crump, as everything we talk about, she will look it up. Law enforcement in Westchester County. There are currently 45 local police agencies in Westchester County, New York, as well as other county, state, and federal agencies responsible for protecting Westchester County.
She's on the ball
These
tonight.
Every night. That's every night.
Okay.
Yeah. These agencies frequently work with one another and other agencies located in surrounding counties and states, as well as the NYPD, blah, 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 blah. So that's the answer to your question.
She's absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's Brenda every Sunday.
Yes,
Thank you, Brenda.
And it doesn't matter what you talk about. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's like, bang. She's
cool.
Yeah. You talked about the National
Night Out.
The flyer's up there.
She put the flyer
August 2nd,
August
5
2nd,
o'clock
yep.
to 8 o'clock, National Night Out,
That'll
the
be a good
annual
night.
national event designed to raise crime prevention, and it's the whole thing, and the street vendors and all that. I'm looking at the flyer now.
Yeah, it's
so
gonna be
while
a good
you were
night.
talking to it, the flyer popped up on our page. So
Cool.
Yeah, she does that all the time.
Good.
So shout out to Brenda L. Crump. And
Thank
she gets
you,
mad when
Brenda.
we forget the L. L. Crump, yeah. I'm going to find out what the L stands for. I'm making my business. I'm going to look that up because I'm going to find that out one day. Just because. He got quiet.
Yeah, don't start, man. Don't start. Don't start, man.
So, We have,
Maybe about 12 minutes.
Well, we started 6:09, so add 9 to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anything I have not asked you that you would like people to know about Peekskill, the police department, about yourself, or anything that you would like to get out?
Well, just to go back to the conversation that really got this all going. It's a two-way street, and I'd like to give some credit to the Peekskill NAACP and their president. They're a new organization. The NAACP have been around in Peekskill for a number of years, and they kind of went by the wayside. Well, they got it started up again about a year ago, and their president, Martin McDonald, ran into him in the street a couple weeks ago, actually about 10 days ago now, and he stopped me and he says, "Hey, I got something for you," and I'm like, "Okay, what?" Almost like, all right.
Like what now? What now?
Right? He goes, no. This is positive.
I get
this
that.
Is positive. This is positive. And I said, okay, what's up? And he says, we want to go bowling. We're having a bowling night as a fundraiser for the NAACP, and it's this Friday, the 29th at Cortland Lanes. And he said, we'd really like some of your police officers to show up because we want to get to know them. And that to me is someone that is working his side of the street and saying,
right,
I'm going to be part of the solution here and not the problem. And that's, to me, was a very positive step. And I'm looking forward to bowling on the 29th. I haven't bowled in a while, but that can be a lot of fun, and we're going to have a couple police officers go out and do that and meet up with some members of the community who may not know who we are. And we'll get to meet each other in a social situation. And again, it's about seeing that we're real people. And it's just, again, people that are, getting out in front of things and building relationships, and it's nice to see the other side of the street meeting halfway, and we'll certainly be there to meet with them as well, and hopefully they have a very successful and fundraiser.
Absolutely. Now, do we have? I got this question because of a customer, a listener. Do we have the National Night Out in Mount Vernon?
Yeah,
we do have that. Is that new?
No, it's not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's
yeah. I mean,
that nullifies the rest of the
They
question.
usually have it at, either Hartley Park or over by the projects, something like that. I think it's over by the project because they usually have because you know what, they have it because all the politicians show up with their flyers and stuff like that.
So it's around election time.
Yeah, it's around election time. It's always around election time. But I think they have it over there by the projects.
Leominster Towers. Okay.
Yeah. Leominster, that area by the parking lot.
Okay.
Not by the 4th Street Park side.
3rd Street. The 3rd Street Park.
Yeah. The 3rd Street. So they usually have it over there where they have a little bouncing thing and the hamburgers and hot dogs and.
They've been doing a lot of that in the community. I mean, and let me just say, for real. I mean, real talk, both sides of it. Real talk, it does. You have a lot of people on the South Side and areas like that are going through hell. And yes, it is a temporary break from the monotony you face every day. So in that essence, I'm for it. My only problem is when you take down the bouncy house and the basketball courts and you clean up the block, then people then go back to the problems they had. So we need to do more to solve some of the problems. You know what I'm saying? In addition to, like, giving them a bouncy house and having Mighty come and Cranberry DJ, the DJs that were on before that, and, hot dogs and hamburgers, and that's good. And that is the beat. You understand what I'm saying? But that's a Band-Aid on a bullet wound as far as the problem. At some point, you do have to remove the bullet.
But
you understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's A.J. Woodson speaking. That's my thoughts on the whole thing.
It all depends. See, we're not putting a blanket on all communities. But, some communities need to do more than just hamburgers and hot dogs because they have internal issues in their city government and even in their police department.
And that's what I was saying.
Right. That they fail.
If you're just doing that, that does not solve the problem.
Yeah, I saw Mount Vernon on the news the other night. A couple of police officers got out and started dancing with some. It was on Channel 4 News. They rolled up on a block party, got out, and started dancing with the people at the block party. There's officers in Mount Vernon that are doing a good job and are very interested in being a part of that.
Yeah, but then you have a deputy police commissioner that threatens to do bodily harm to a city council person. So that negates that. That's what we're saying. That negates the officer that's trying to do his job because there's internal mechanisms that need to be corrected. And that's the whole thing with the 21st century policing. The first step is what? To be legitimate, accountable, and transparent. So I don't care how many hot dogs you give to somebody. If your police department is not known to be legitimate, transparent, and accountable, it means nothing at the end of the day. They just got some free food. So I mean, it all goes together. But we have to be accountable. We have to be accountable, and that's one of the problems facing Mount Vernon. Not every police department.
No.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Because no, absolutely. But it is. We've got to focus on the positive, and that to me is often lost.
Right. And that's why I said it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
We're not actually breaking
away.
up the monotony of their day, of their day-to-day. For those couple of hours, there's no worries. It's fun. There's some music, the bouncy house, the food. It does. It's a temporary escape from reality. If I don't know any other way to put it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is, then you do have to go back to reality afterwards.
When you talk to people and you see, like, I remember some of our first few police academies that we had, the youth police academies. We're in our 13th year now with this program, and we get sponsorships from the community, and we feed the kids. And I remember in the beginning just seeing the kids at lunchtime and how much they would eat, and speaking to certain people, man, look at how much they eat, and then finding out it's because they don't eat at home.
Because they don't eat at all, right?
And that's, depressing is an understatement. Coming from someone who never had to worry about where I was going to get my next meal from. Right. That's where you, like you said, you're focusing on the positive and taking them out of that situation for those couple of hours. Right. So.
We have two callers. One caller, please state your name and briefly your purpose for calling.
Hey, Jay.
Hey.
Damon, what's up? This is Bob.
Hey, Dr. Bob Baskerville.
There you go.
That's our other host, but we don't know where are you?
I'm actually at home, man. I needed to. I gotta finish up some work for my class.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
professor,
so he has.
His commute is very.
Like around the corner.
It's around the corner.
No,
yeah. Like he literally could walk if he wanted to. Yeah.
Well, I had to focus on trying to spend the last couple of hours in the evening getting myself prepared for class, because as you guys
professor
know,
at Bronx community.
Nice. We've been engaging in some coalition building over the past couple of days that took a lot of my time, and I wanted to call in and perhaps talk about it for a moment. I don't know if you finished all the discussion with the guests on tonight's show. I didn't want to short circuit the discussion.
If you want to address it, I need you to address it real briefly since you called at the end of the show.
Well, a coalition of concerned residents who go by the designation Mount Vernon residents for the city charter began meeting yesterday in order to figure out what kind of action we could take to address both the unethical and illegal behavior that the Thomas administration has been engaged in from the very beginning. We now have a page on Facebook, Mount Vernon Residents for the City Charter, and in addition, we'll be taking steps to submit a petition to the City Council asking them to take a series of steps, holding a hearing, instructing our ethics board to do a review of some of the questionable goings on at City Hall, and other actions, and to finish the hearing on the zombie homes as a way of beginning to reassert its authority and to reestablish the rule of law. And we're trying to get residents to sign the petition by this Friday so that we can submit it to the City Council and have them answer it at the upcoming City Council meeting, which I believe is August 10th, I believe. So I wanted to just take the opportunity to plug that. As soon as possible, I'm sure the petition is going to be posted at the Facebook page, Mount Vernon Residents for the City Charter, and people can review it, and we'll be making arrangements to go by and have people sign a actual copy. And just let me say, petitioning is one of the oldest but least used methods of trying to raise grievances to our elected officials, and I want to encourage everyone to undertake a whole range of actions, including signing the petition, as a first step to getting things right again in the city of Mount Vernon.
All right, thank you.
That's all I got to say.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That is Dr. Robert Baskerville of the Brooklyn Baskervilles, who is not here with us today. I do want to, and I wanted to, I know it's not kind of fair to ask you to speak on another municipality, but one of the stories we did this week, they had a peaceful protest in White Plains, and there were complaints of a drone flying, spying on the protesters, and the possibility of more drone use in the county of Westchester. I know you can't speak to White Plains, but how do you feel about the whole use of drones? And
Well, I mean, there's a lot of private drones out there. I'm not familiar with that particular story, but I can say that in the city of Peekskill, we've been exploring the possibility of adding a drone to our resources for traffic management, crime scene investigation, and not necessarily crowd control, but situational awareness. When you have a large festival going on, you get an idea how many people are in attendance, and you can see, like for instance, at our fireworks on July 4th, seeing the different traffic patterns that people are choosing to use to go out. You can adjust your resources for that. I actually did read the story before I came here. I saw it on there, and I saw that some comments were made about equipping drones with weapons or with speakers or microphones to pick up conversations or pepper spray. I would not be in favor of anything like that. I mean, I think that's definitely over the top and not what a drone would be intended for police resources. I could see it being used strictly as intelligence gathering for situations that might exist.
I think so. And one of the some of the critics to the use of the drones were saying the difference between the drones and, say, cameras everywhere.
Right.
The drone can follow you to your house and look in your house and do those things that cameras cannot do,
right,
like stationary cameras.
I mean, look, having a drone, if you're a police department, it does not give you the right to use it to invade anyone's privacy. You would still need a warrant to look into someone's property or things like that. Just because you're a police agency and own a drone does not give you the right to supersede the law. The FAA is very strict on the regulations for drone use for government entities, as they are for civilians as well. So that's just something that the public needs to know. Look, I think it's estimated. I mean, last time I saw this was a couple of years ago, but they were saying that it was pretty much 80% of your day you were on camera somewhere.
Right.
I think that's probably only increased.
Right, because every time you pass an ATM or something like that.
Anywhere.
But again, that's as you pass there, that camera stays there.
Right.
This camera follows you and has the possible of following you. I think that's why people say with the privacy thing.
But again, the rules the FAA puts out there is you can only fly a drone within line of sight. So that would mean that the drone operator would have to follow you as well. And you're not allowed to operate a drone from a vehicle, so theoretically you couldn't get in a car and fly your drone and follow another car and kind of have that elaborate way of following somebody.
No, you're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to, yeah.
Right,
and look, if you're violating the FAA rules, I mean, you're going to face some federal consequences, which can be pretty severe. So. I just I don't think the public understands that. I mean, that's why I wanted to bring it up. Yeah, we as a police agency, you can't circumvent the law. I mean, just because it's a drone, and the public needs to know that. People that own drones themselves,
right.
They're not supposed to fly over people. So if there is a festival, I've seen drones up at festivals that are privately owned, and that's illegal too. So
there's something about 1,000 feet above your house or something. It has to be.
No, you can only be 400 feet above.
Yeah,
and that's so that you don't interfere with air traffic, which is 500 foot minimum.
Okay.
So you can only go 400 feet in the air.
So what's the purpose of flying the damn things if you can't even use it nowhere? I mean,
I mean, look, I can see an application like a real estate company, but they have to be licensed. They have to be licensed as a commercial entity to fly a drone. Maybe they want to take some high shots of a house, or a roofer or a chimney sweep that wants to prove that the chimney's clean now and that he's actually up there. I mean, there's different applications for that. Wedding photographers could use them, and certainly you can use it in your own private property.
Right.
So, but they're not as.
I can see big gathering. You said the 4th of July, or like Times Square. You know what I'm saying? New Year's Eve, like I can see. That's millions.
Yeah,
of
but they have
dollars.
permits and stuff.
Right,
like
no,
that.
but I'm just saying, I can
But
see that you. I think Bob has something to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do want to add that when we look at the history of police surveillance of political activities in particular, we can't help but be disturbed because far too often the police are not there merely to ensure public safety, but instead they begin to amass a database which is then used to track political activists. And quite honestly, the very thought that we would have drones flying in the air, I think, chills political expression of dissent against existing policies in the United States government. I think it's a terrible idea. People will be far less likely to participate if they believe that there's a drone flying overhead that can take pictures of them, enter it into a database that now is equipped with facial recognition technology, because they are unsure as to whether or not they will get a knock on the door. And I think that goes well beyond the scope of police powers as they have been traditionally recognized here in the United States. And there are a couple of cases that really speak to this. We all know of COINTELPRO activities, but even New York State, police agencies in New York State have been reprimanded by the courts for exceeding their power to ensure public safety by then going on to use this kind of information to both track and even discourage dissenting opinions and political views. And so I think we really need to rethink this, especially because it makes it very difficult for people to express peaceful protest and dissent against unpopular government policies, and makes it more likely that they're going to feel it necessary to resort to more extreme forms of political action.
Oh, thank you, Bob.
Well, with that said,
thank you, Dr.
We're
Bob.
coming to the close of the show. Last words. Last words.
I can't thank you enough for inviting me to come on here. I'm glad to have met both of you.
Right.
Look forward to working with you in the future.
Absolutely.
Put you on my friend list.
Yeah, man. And you're always welcome, to come on the show, man. We have open door policy.
Cool.
You call, hey, listen, I got something to talk about. Then come on down on the show. And we'll talk about it.
I will come back.
We're the type of show that we keep open door policy.
This is a lot of fun.
Yeah. See, you're gonna get the radio fever, man. A couple of guys come on in like, yo, how much it costs to get the show on?
Yeah. But and I want to extend that invitation to again,
thank you.
To come anytime. And for the Peekskill, there's a lot more people listening to Peekskill. I couldn't mention all your names. I thank everybody who's tuning in for the first time. Again, I extend that invitation as far as, if you have a journalist or writer up there who can cover the issues and, wants to work with us and provide, the information, we'll post that and we can have more of a presence in Peekskill, where I, can't be physically there every day. And I don't know all the players and stuff. So I will be looking into who the people are, because I know in every city there's political whatever agendas again, so we will make sure we're not slandering or whatever, but just covering the news and the topics of what's going on, though.
Cool.
And what we try to do. So I thank you for coming and answering the questions, and being the second police chief who has come on People Before Politics. Right? It's the second after Kelly.
No, it's the first.
The first
other one
okay.
was a commissioner.
Oh, he was a commissioner. I'm sorry. The first police chief.
Cool.
First chief to come on the show.
First one.
That's cool.
Thank the Peekskill community for coming out and listening. As always, this will be posted later on tonight on Black Westchester. Anything last words?
I just want to thank the chief for coming on, man. It was great. We had a great time at the forum, and we had a great time tonight. And these are the conversations that we need to have, honest conversations about policing and the community that we serve. Also, for everybody that's up in Peekskill listening, man, if y'all see my cousin Tony Jones, man, you tell him to give his cousin a call, man. I've been trying to reach him. I don't know. I'm starting to take it personal because,
I don't know if I see him.
He's going to be like, yo, why everybody's telling me to call you, man?
The power of radio. Yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up. I can't announce all the, she posted a flyer for your bowling night. That's July 29th.
She found it.
Yeah, she peak skill NAACP.
Yo, she's on it.
Good.
Yeah, she got all of that. So I can't.
Yo, she also found with all the police departments that's using drones. She posted that.
Wow.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we'll have to look at.
on it.
Yeah, law enforcement agencies using drones, list and map.
Nice.
Yeah. So we will be looking at that with Black Westchester. But I also want to remind everyone of the video, the young lady and her mother who called, to support them. Go hit that GoFundMe right now. If you're hearing my voice, the link is on Black Westchester. On the People Before Politics 914 page. Brenda, if you can repost that at the bottom so it's clear for everybody to see. I will have it on Black Westchester at the bottom of the posting of the radio show, and I will be doing a separate post by tomorrow. So support her. Go hit that GoFundMe. Spend whatever you can. Help this the mother and her younger daughter go be with the daughter in Rio in the Olympics this year, and cheer her on. So with that said, you could be doing anything else right now, but you decided to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. This is Black Westchester Presents People Before Politics Radio every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. Until next week, peace.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still life of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry armed women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado.